All right, let's now give you some updates from what is happening in Nepal. After days of violence and political upheaval, Nepal is turning the page. The country's former Chief Justice Sushila Karki, who's also the first woman to serve on the position, is all set to take the oath as the country's interim Prime Minister. After several rounds of negotiations between the army chief and a delegation of young protesters and the president, the 73-year-old Sushila Karki has been chosen to now lead the country in this difficult moment. She'll be taking the oath anytime now. Sushila Karki is a top jurist who's known for her anti-corruption stance. She studied law from the Banaras Hindu University in India. She was appointed as the permanent judge to Nepal's Supreme Court in 2006. And after 10 years in the top court, she had become Nepal's first woman Chief Justice. In 2017, she also faced impeachment, but later retired from the position. Now, at the age of 73, Nepal's Gen Z is banking on her to usher in change. More than 50 people died in the protests that engulfed the Himalayan nation. Over 2 days of protests, rejection of the existing political elite was evident. Several government buildings, including the parliament, were set on fire, and leaders from all political parties faced widespread public anger. And now Nepal's parliament is set to be dissolved. Under the current constitution, the president is bound to call for fresh elections within 6 months. All right, and our correspondent Saloni Murarka is joining us over the phone line from Kathmandu. Saloni, so consensus candidate is Sushila Karki, the 73-year-old former Chief Justice of the Nepalese Supreme Court. Give us a sense as to, what is the vision that she has for Nepal and how she would seek to bring an end to the turmoil in the country.
Well, of course, we know that the situation that we have come down to has been after long and hectic discussions for days. And this has her appointment as Nepal's interim head also come days after mass protests that brought down the government over corruption and nepotism. As I speak to you, the preparations are underway for her oath-taking ceremony, and it is also being said that most likely a 3-member cabinet will also be formed. And post her oath-taking ceremony, a cabinet meeting will also be held tonight. And she will be the first woman to lead Nepal in the capacity of Prime Minister. And this is also a period of very difficult transition until fresh elections are held. And despite these challenges, she remains hopeful and committed. And she's said that her immediate priority would be to honor and support the families of those who have lost their lives, and also demand an investigation into the government's crackdown on Gen Z's protests.
Right.
So her name was finalized by the Gen Z's group, and her anti-corruption image, just as you mentioned, is seen as a strong factor for her selection.
Right.
And as at this moment of deep crisis, like many experts believe that she faces perhaps the biggest challenge and opportunity of her life to guide Nepal through this turmoil as the leader of an interim government.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much, Saloni Murarka, for joining us with those updates there. And joining us from Kathmandu, we've got Mr. C.K. Lal. He's a journalist and also a political columnist. He's for the Kathmandu Post and the Kantipur Daily. Mr. Lal, thank you very much for joining us on WION. Now, a 73-year-old former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court has been chosen by Gen Z to lead the country. In your assessment, what challenges await the 73-year-old Chief Justice?
The first challenge would be to put a functioning government which is acceptable to political parties that have been sidelined. Then second one will be to investigate what caused this destruction, this huge destruction and loss of life of about 54, including security personnel and youngsters. And then third priority would be to stabilize economy. And fourth then would be to declare a date of an election and prepare the ground for elections. And then fifth would be to generate confidence in the system. So these should be her 5 priorities for now.
I think those are key issues that she'll have to, handle and hit the ground running. But the question is also this, the Gen Z tends to be a little impatient. Realistically speaking, how soon or how much time do you think Sushila Karki has with her to try and put things in order before the Gen Z loses patience again?
I think more than Gen Z, in all practical terms, theoretically, we are going to have a civilian government, but reins of power will be with the security forces. So it all depends upon how they kind of stabilize the situation. What is being called Gen Z is a fashionable name. Actually, it's urban youths, frustrated youths who came out on the street and everything went out of their hand. I mean, in 6 hours, more damage to national property was done than in maybe 10 years of Maoist insurgency. So you can imagine how much in a hurry they seem to be in. So I don't know, a lot of uncertainties ahead because with the dissolution of the House, for all practical purposes, constitution remains suspended. The
Right.
government has been formed as an extra constitutional on a doctrine of necessity principle. And that is very dicey, as we have seen in many cases, especially in neighboring country like Pakistan. So with no parliament and constitution suspended, and you have agitators directing what to do, a difficult time ahead. It doesn't seem to be very easy.
I think you've summed it up really well there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Lal, for joining us with that perspective there.
Thank you.